The lights in the big arena flashed with the loud music. Cameras showed the huge crowd cheering loudly. Diesel the Titan Malone, a strong and famous wrestler, walked into the ring like a superhero. He tore off his shirt, lifted his shiny champion belt and shouted, "Nobody is better than the Titan." Bright lights followed him as he walked around the ring, showing off his muscles and smiling. The crowd shouted his name again and again. But then everything changed. The giant screen above the ring made a loud crack. The music stopped. A deep voice came from the speakers. "Please welcome tonight's surprise guest, action movie star, Jason Statham." The crowd went wild. Everyone stood up and cheered. Lights moved to the front row where Jason was sitting. He wore a hoodie and looked calm. He didn't wave or smile. He just gave a small, cool nod. That simple nod stole the whole show. Everyone stopped looking at Diesel. Now all eyes were on Jason. Kids in the front row jumped and shouted, "Jason! Jason!" The whole arena started chanting his name. The sound was so loud it shook the walls. People took out their phones and started filming. Cameras turned away from Diesel. His special moment was gone. Diesel got very mad. His jaw was tight, his fists were clenched, and he was breathing hard. But no one noticed. Everyone was watching Jason. Diesel grabbed a microphone, walked to the ropes, and shouted, "You think that guy is a real hero? I'm the boss here." He jumped out of the ring and walked quickly toward Jason. He yelled, "Get up, movie star. Show us you're not just a pretend hero." Jason stayed sitting. He looked calm and cool. The crowd shouted even louder. Only then Jason stood up. He didn't speak. He didn't smile. He just stood. The challenge was on. The lights in the Vegas arena flashed like a big heartbeat, red, white, and gold lights shining on 20,000 people. Everyone was already super excited. Kids in the front row were leaning over the rail, holding up phones, screaming and laughing. Workers ran around throwing t-shirts into the crowd. Lasers shined through the fog above the ring. Tonight was called the Legend Showdown. But most people came for one man, Diesel, the Titan Malone. The music began and the whole stadium shouted. Diesel came out of the tunnel sweating and yelling. His shiny gold belt was across his shoulder. He walked fast down the ramp, showing his muscles and banging his chest. The loudspeaker shouted, "Vegas, get ready for the undefeated, the Titan, Diesel." He got into the ring like he was the king of the world. He stood on the ropes and smiled while people took pictures and shouted his name. But Diesel wanted even more. And just 10 seconds later he would lose it all. Diesel walked proudly around the ring. He took the microphone and yelled, "This ring is for real men, real fighters, real legends. No one can steal my spotlight." The crowd clapped and cheered, but then, suddenly, the lights dimmed. The giant screen flickered. The speakers made a popping noise. Then a voice said loudly, "Please welcome a very special guest, action movie star Jason Statham." The lights pointed to the front row. There he was, Jason Statham, sitting calmly in a black hoodie and cap, arms crossed, legs wide. No smile. No waves. Just cool and quiet. And then the crowd exploded. Even louder than they did for Diesel. Phones pointed at Jason. Cameras turned. Even the announcers were shocked. Kids screamed, "It's Statham. Jason's here." The chant started again. "Jason, Jason, Jason." It was louder than ever. Diesel stood frozen in the ring. His eyes locked on Jason. His big moment was gone. All the cheers were for Jason now. And then it got even worse. A kid in the front row cupped his hands and shouted, "Hey Diesel, Jason's the real hero." The crowd laughed and cheered. Diesel's face got red. He squeezed the microphone tighter. He breathed heavy. The crowd wasn't with him anymore. The camera didn't show him anymore. The cheers weren't for him. They were for Jason. Diesel lost it. He jumped out of the ring and stormed toward the barricade. He pushed past security like a big angry train. He got close to Jason, who was still sitting calm and quiet. Diesel shouted, "You think you're the hero now? You just sit there like you're the king?" Jason didn't move. He didn't blink. The crowd shouted louder, "Jason, Jason, Jason." Diesel leaned even closer. His voice on the mic was loud and hot. "Why don't you get up and prove you're not just a movie star with muscles?" He stepped back and yelled, "Let's give the people what they want. You versus me. Right here, right now." Everyone held their breath. Jason slowly stood up. Still no words. Just a look. The challenge was accepted. Diesel kept yelling into the mic. He looked like he was trying to stay important. But Jason didn't move. His arms stayed crossed. His eyes stayed serious. The crowd had already chosen. From the top seats to the front row, the chant came again, the loudest yet. Jason, Jason, Jason. Kids waved their arms. Phones flashed. Some fans even jumped up and hit the barricades with joy. Jason turned his head slowly toward the ring. Then he stood up all the way. In one smooth move, he unzipped his hoodie, took it off, folded it, and gave it to a guard. Underneath, he wore a plain black t-shirt. No logos. No flashy colors. Just muscle. And silence. He stepped over the rail. His feet hit the floor with a heavy thud. The whole arena felt it. He walked up the metal steps, slow and strong. He stopped at the ropes. Diesel was in the middle of the ring, bouncing, smiling big, but his eyes looked nervous. Jason bent down and stepped through the ropes. The roof nearly flew off the arena from all the cheers. The bell rang. Diesel ran forward fast. He slammed into Jason's side before Jason was even ready. He picked Jason up and smashed him into the corner of the ring. The crowd gasped. Diesel didn't stop. He grabbed Jason's shirt and threw him across the ring like a toy. Then he ran again and hit Jason with his arm hard. Jason fell to the mat, coughing. Diesel stood tall, showing his muscles. "This is your action hero?" he yelled. "This is your tough guy?" The crowd got quiet. The cheers turned into worried murmurs. Jason tried to get up, but Diesel picked him up again and slammed him down hard with a big suplex. Diesel walked around the ring like a winner. "Hollywood is soft," he shouted, pointing at Jason. The announcers spoke quietly into their mics. "Jason's in trouble. This isn't just a movie. This is real. And Diesel is just getting started." Jason rolled to the side, holding his ribs. His face looked tired. He had been hit hard, really hard. Jason had been in fights before, many of them, and he was used to pain. But Diesel was different. Diesel was bigger. He was faster. And most of all, he was angry. This fight wasn't just about winning. Diesel wanted to prove something. He wanted to crush Jason in front of everyone. Diesel smiled a mean smile and walked over. He looked down at Jason and said, "What's wrong, tough guy? Looking for the director? Did you forget your lines?" Then Diesel grabbed Jason roughly, like Jason was just a toy. He yanked him up and threw him into the ropes. Jason bounced off the ropes like a ball. When he came back, Diesel jumped in the air and slammed his arm across Jason's chest with a huge clothesline. Wham! Jason flew in the air and crashed to the mat like a crash test dummy. His body twisted before he hit the floor. It looked painful. Some people in the crowd covered their eyes. Some sat down quietly. The group of teenagers who had been cheering loudly for Jason earlier were now silent. Their happy smiles were gone. Their faces were full of worry. Jason didn't jump back to his feet. He slowly got to one knee and stayed there, breathing hard. A line of sweat ran down the side of his face. He looked hurt but focused. Diesel crouched down, holding a microphone again. "This is your hero?" he said to the crowd. "This is the guy who plays the bad guy in movies? The big scary killer? Look at him now." The crowd didn't respond. Jason didn't talk either. His chest went up and down as he took deep breaths. He was waiting, watching, thinking. Diesel, now feeling super confident, walked over again. He reached down to grab Jason, ready to throw him again. But this time Jason moved fast. Crack. Jason slammed his elbow into Diesel's ribs. Diesel let out a loud grunt. Wow. Jason hit him again, this time higher, right under the chin. Diesel's head snapped back. The crowd sat up straighter. Diesel tried to punch Jason, but Jason ducked. Whoosh. The punch missed. Jason stood back up and drove his knee into Diesel's stomach. Thump. Diesel bent over from the pain. Then, boom. Jason hit Diesel with a lightning-fast uppercut to the jaw. Diesel stumbled backward. 1 step. 2 steps. 3 steps. The crowd went wild. People jumped to their feet. "Jason! Jason! Jason!" They chanted louder and louder. Jason didn't cheer. He didn't raise his arms. He didn't even smile. He just circled Diesel, calm and focused. His face had a cut on it. His lip was bleeding. But his eyes looked strong. Diesel was mad now. He charged at Jason, trying to punch him again. But this time it was messy and wild. Jason stepped aside. He grabbed Diesel's swinging arm in the middle of the punch, twisted it, and used his hip to flip Diesel high into the air. Slam. Diesel hit the mat hard. The teenagers screamed. The whole arena was roaring now. Still, Jason didn't smile. He didn't raise his hands. He didn't pose. He adjusted his feet and breathed slowly. He was ready. Diesel lay on the ground blinking. He looked surprised. Maybe for the first time he felt fear. The crowd was still buzzing, but now something had changed. They weren't just watching a match. They were watching something important. Jason stood tall. He didn't look scared. His body was still. His eyes were sharp. Diesel scrambled to his feet again. His face was red. He looked like an angry bull. He came running again with a big punch. Jason moved just a little, leaned back, and the punch missed by inches. In the same movement, he kicked Diesel's thigh with a fast, hard kick. Smack. Diesel stumbled. Jason moved to the right and hit Diesel's ribs again with his elbow, the same spot from before. Diesel grunted. He clutched his side. Jason was moving like a machine. Smooth, sharp, fast. He wasn't just punching. He was taking Diesel apart like a puzzle. The crowd saw it. They were amazed. He's not just fighting, one announcer whispered. He's studying Diesel. He knows what's coming. Diesel tried to tackle Jason, but Jason spun around him and pushed him into the turnbuckle, the padded corner of the ring. Crash. Diesel hit the turnbuckle face first. The sound echoed. Diesel bounced off, stunned. Jason didn't miss his chance. He stepped forward and hit Diesel right in the liver. Thump. Diesel froze. His whole body stopped moving. Then he dropped to one knee, gasping for air. Jason didn't rush. He walked around, eyes always on Diesel. Every move he made was smart, like he had done it 1,000 times in his head. Diesel looked up. His eyes were blurry. His body looked weak. The crowd knew now, Jason was in control. Diesel stood up again, slow and shaky. Sweat dripped from his face. His mouth hung open. His arms moved weirdly. He didn't look powerful anymore. He looked nervous. But then, suddenly, Diesel pulled out something shiny from under the ring. It was a steel chair. The crowd gasped. The referee saw it and ran to stop him, but Diesel shoved him away with one big arm. Jason still didn't move. He just watched. Diesel lifted the chair high like a weapon and ran at Jason. But Jason was calm. At the last second, he stepped to the side, grabbed Diesel's wrist and twisted it. The chair dropped to the floor. Clang. Before Diesel could do anything else, Jason swept his leg and tripped him. Boom. Diesel landed flat on his back. The arena shook from the noise of the crowd. Jason didn't stop. Diesel tried to crawl away, but Jason kicked his shoulder hard. Thud. Then he kneed him in the ribs again. What? Then an elbow to the side of the head. Crack. Each hit was sharp. Each move was perfect. Diesel looked like a broken robot. His arms and legs moved in the wrong ways. He tried to swing a punch, but it was wild and weak. Jason ducked, turned, and hit him with 2 quick jabs to the belly. Diesel gasped. He could barely breathe. His knees bent. He looked like he might fall. One of the teenagers in the front row yelled, "You're done, Titan." Jason didn't even look at the kid. He didn't laugh. He didn't show off. When Diesel tried to grab him again, Jason spun behind him and shoved him into the ropes. As Diesel bounced back, Jason kicked his leg. Bam. Diesel crashed to the mat again. This time he didn't get up. He groaned and reached for the ropes, not to fight but to crawl. Jason stood in the middle of the ring, breathing steady. The loudmouth, the show-off, the man who acted like a king, was now just a broken mess. The crowd had seen the truth. Diesel was never the real hero. Jason was. And he had proved it, without saying a single word. Diesel tried to stand one last time. He was shaking. His mouth was bloody. His arms were limp. But he roared like a wild animal and ran at Jason with one final swing. Jason didn't move. He waited. He caught Diesel's arm in the air. Crack. He twisted it behind Diesel's back. Diesel screamed in pain. Jason twisted harder, pushing the shoulder up. Diesel's legs kicked. His back bent. Then, wham! Jason dragged Diesel off balance and drove his knee into the back of Diesel's leg. Slam. Diesel hit the mat like a sack of potatoes. The crowd gasped. Jason still didn't let go. He leaned in, pulling Diesel's arm higher. Diesel's body shook. His hand hit the mat once. Then twice. He was trying to tap out. Trying to say, "I give up." But Jason didn't want to tap out. He let go. Diesel flopped forward, breathing like he had no air left. Then, boom, Jason hit him one last time. A huge punch to the face. Diesel's head turned. His body slumped. He was out. Cold. The crowd went silent for a second. Then, boom, they exploded in cheers. People jumped. Chairs rattled. Teens hugged each other. Even the announcers were stunned. "He's out," one announcer yelled. "The Titan is out." Jason stood over Diesel's body. His chest moved up and down. He had cuts and bruises, but he was the winner. There was no doubt. He didn't win by being flashy. He didn't win by luck. He won by being smart. He won with skill. He won with control. This wasn't just wrestling. This was something bigger. Diesel, the loud, proud, so-called legend, was lying unconscious in the ring. His arms were limp. His face was messy and bloody. His body didn't move. Jason stood over him, calm as ever, breathing slow through his nose. He looked at the crowd. They were all standing now. Their voices filled the whole arena. Jason, Jason, Jason. The referee waved his arms, ending the match. But no one even looked at him. Jason walked to the corner and picked up the microphone Diesel had used to make fun of him earlier. He raised it to his mouth. It made a small crackling sound. He looked down at Diesel, then at the announcers, then up to the fans. He spoke just 6 words. Quiet, calm, but powerful. Heroes don't need spotlights, he said. He waited a moment, then looked straight into the camera and said, they take them. The crowd exploded. It wasn't clapping. It wasn't cheers. It was an eruption. Teens jumped on chairs. Grown-ups screamed. Phones lit up. Social media blew up in real time. Jason didn't smile. He dropped the mic, not for show. Just like it didn't matter. He didn't wait for a trophy. He didn't want a photo. He didn't raise his arms. He just turned around, clenched his jaw, squared his shoulders, and walked to the ropes. And the crowd kept screaming his name. Jason, Jason, Jason. As Jason walked out of the ring and made his way up the ramp, the lights followed him, not the champion. Diesel was still unconscious, his belt lying on the ground beside him, and Jason was already gone. As soon as Jason disappeared behind the backstage curtain, the whole arena went crazy. The lights went a little dim, but the noise was so loud. The teens who had been chanting STM earlier started chanting it again, and soon everyone in the arena joined in. They all yelled, STM, STM. Some fans banged on the barricades, and others wiped away tears as if they had just seen something amazing happen. Diesel was still lying there, not moving. 2 medics came in quietly, and a second referee knelt beside him. His title belt was pushed aside, completely forgotten. It wasn't just that he lost the match, it was how he lost. The champion, the unbeatable Titan, had been completely defeated, and the world saw it on live TV. Fans in the upper seats shouted down, saying, "That's what real looks like." One camera even showed a fan, maybe about 60 years old, laughing to himself and shaking his head. Backstage, things were chaotic. There were cameras everywhere, reporters asking questions, and the production crew whispering like something special had just happened. But Jason was nowhere to be found. Diesel was sitting in a folding chair with medics around him. He was staring at the floor, a towel pressed to his mouth. A small cut on his lip had dried blood on it. His eyes looked unfocused. Reporters crowded around him asking, "Diesel, what happened out there? Do you regret calling out Jason? Was he tougher than you thought?" Diesel didn't say anything. Someone gave him a microphone, but he pushed it away and walked off angrily, limping with his jaw clenched. His face was red and he looked really embarrassed. It wasn't the walk of someone who just lost a fight. It was the walk of someone who realized he had brought attention to himself, but Jason took it away. Now, Diesel wouldn't be remembered for winning, but for being completely silenced. Meanwhile, in a quiet hallway near where the fans exit, Jason Statham was standing by himself with the same teens who had cheered for him in the front row. They had run backstage and begged the security guards to let them meet him. Jason waved them over with a simple nod. He signed their phone cases, shirts, and ticket stubs. No big speeches, no show. Just a smile and a quiet, "You boys got heart." One of the teens, maybe about 14, looked up at him and said, "You're the real deal, man. You're what they all pretend to be." Jason smiled and patted him on the shoulder, saying, "Remember that," before handing him a signed glove that had some marks from the fight. Then he quietly walked out through the side door. No cameras, no flashing lights, just Jason disappearing into the night like a real legend. Before Jason even made it to the parking lot, the fight was all over social media. "Statham destroys Titan" was trending within minutes. Someone posted a slow-motion video of the final punch, with dramatic music added. In just 10 minutes, it had 100,000 likes. Sports commentators, film critics, and everyone talking about fights were calling it the night Jason, the actor, became the real deal. Reddit threads exploded with excitement, and YouTube thumbnails screamed, "Jason's not acting anymore." Titan folded like a chair. It wasn't just wrestling anymore, it was real. At the center of every post, every meme, every shocked replay, was Jason standing still, breathing heavily, looking like the only person in the building who didn't need to prove anything. He already did. In a world full of loud noise and flashy tricks, real toughness speaks differently. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't beg for applause, and it doesn't show off. Jason didn't chase the spotlight. He stood still and the spotlight came to him. While Diesel shouted, flexed his muscles, and ranted, Jason just moved, breathed, and answered with actions. Because true strength isn't about talking loudly before the fight begins. It's about who stands strong when the last punch is thrown. Diesel had the crowd, the belt, and the microphone. But Jason had one thing, presence. And that presence changed everything. He reminded everyone, fans in the seats, people watching at home, and even kids, that strength is not shown by yelling. It's shown by being calm, focused, and smart. And when the time came, Jason did it. Quietly, completely, and with no doubt. People might forget what Diesel said. They might forget who had the belt. But they will never forget the night when Silence stepped into the ring and made more noise than anyone else. Some men chase the spotlight, but others just become it. If you like this story, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling adventures, mysteries, and unforgettable moments. Your support keeps these stories alive and the creativity flowing. Thanks for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next video.